What's up mga kap and welcome again to our Pinoy Canada Immigration live streaming dito sa When in Halifax YouTube channel and When in Halifax Facebook page. And of course, if you're a registered nurse, if you're planning to immigrate here in Canada, here in Nova Scotia, and you are planning to practice your profession as a registered nurse, this live streaming is for you. Ayan mga kap. So, if you have a relative, friends na nurse na nangangarap na pumunta dito sa Canada, this live streaming is for them and for you. So, what you're going to do, share this video, do a watch party if you're watching on YouTube channel. Do a watch party because sharing is caring. On this live streaming mga kap, we have a very special guest. We have Stephen, wherein he will share to us the step-by-step process, the experience kung paano maging registered nurse. Kaya wag na nating patagalin. Tawagin na natin, Stephen, pasok! Ayan!
Hello po. Hello,
Kumusta,
hi.
Stephen?
Ito naman po, ako naman po. I'm doing well po. So far, doing well naman po.
Welcome to When in Halifax YouTube channel and When in Halifax Facebook. Welcome, Stephen. And of course, before we start, taos puso ako nagpapasalamat for granting our request for being here and for your valuable time for spending. Thank you very much. Stephen, we start from a question. Sino ba si Stephen? Ayan.
Nako naman po. So,
hindi ka tanong, no? Sino agad si Stephen?
Naku naman, nahiya naman ako magsabi dyan. Mag-share. Sige. So, do I have to say, like, introduce or? Oh, okay. All right.
Introduce mo na si Stephen. So, okay lang.
Aba. So, anyway, ano po ako, nakapag-aral po ako sa Pilipinas ng nursing. And that was in 2010. So 2014, nakapagtapos. Well, just because kasi nandito na kasi ahead of time yung mom ko, to be specific. She was actually the primary reason kung paano ako nakapunta dito. But anyway, just a brief background. So we are a family of healthcare professionals except for my sister kasi nga ang sister ko is accountant. Takot sa dugo. So and so yun, well actually because of my parents din kasi na somehow nakuha ko rin yung inspiration ko maging nurse. And at the same time, since kasi may international background na rin kasi ako ahead of time because prior to coming here to Canada, pinalaki din ako sa Middle East kami ng kapatid ko. So we grew up in Saudi Arabia. So we already know what the nuances are when it comes to being a globalized family, ika nga.
So nasa family ninyo talaga nasa healthcare profession and yung mom mo is also a registered nurse, your mom? And then yung inspiration mo. And of course, for everyone, ito yung brief intro ni Stephen. And for everyone that are watching right now, so Stephen is a nurse. He is practicing a registered nurse dito sa Halifax. So before we go deeper, I would like to share this video mga kap, share this, tag your friends, tag your family, because this is a very informative video. So ayan, Stephen, you mentioned kanina na nandito ka sa Canada ng 2014 and you finished your BSN? BSN sa Pilipinas.
Sa Pilipinas po, yes po.
Sa Pilipinas, and then after pumunta ka dito sa Canada, right after mong graduation o may experience ka sa Pilipinas before ka pumunta dito sa Canada?
Nice. Funny that you asked that question kasi nung pumunta ako dito sa Canada, zero experience talaga. Kasi I graduated nung March 27, I can still pinpoint the date, March 27, 2014 na naka-graduate ako. Then, kasi nung time kasi na yun, di ba? Kasi if you are familiar with the nursing examination sa Pilipinas, it is offered twice a year. Dati, ang common na schedule is June or either December or November. Diba? Usually December. But it just so happened na sa batch kasi namin, I was part of the new nursing curriculum. So binago nila. So instead na June, naging a month earlier than that, naging May.
Mhm.
Tapos ang 2014 na supposed to be na December, naging November. So nung time na yon, so parang in my case, I have no time to lose kasi uh, I was actually fighting against time nung time na yon. So right after graduation, I started to review for my nursing licensure examination, which is in Philippine nursing
Mhm.
licensure examination. Kasi I was targeting to have it done on May. And on top of that one, kasi syempre, I also have to think and anticipate sa mga things na kailangan. Like for example, ang IELTS examination. So syempre, sabay-sabay ko nireview yun, which unfortunately is hindi naging madali and at the same time, masakit sa bulsa. Kasi syempre kasi nung time na yun, bagong graduate ako and at the same time, wala akong work nung time na yun. So I was completely dependent sa support ng parents ko.
Mhm.
So nung time na yun, I had to be wise. And at the same time, I was fighting against time, ika nga, as I've mentioned. So, thankfully, to cut the story short, nakapasa ako ng nursing examination, but the battle still doesn't end there. Kasi ang deadline ko kasi is, ang target ko nang dapat October 2014, makalipad na ako ng Canada. Otherwise, mag-expire yung allowed outside stay ko being a permanent resident dito sa Canada. So that was my deadline.
So talaga
So,
yung kalaban mo that time is time.
time was my number one enemy.
Mhm.
Yes. Kasi syempre, kasi ako, when I graduated, ang gusto ko sana mangyari is syempre, I wanted longer preparation time, pero not in my case, unfortunately. Well,
Mhm.
I basically have nothing to lose ng time.
That's right.
So, so anyway, I learned na although in a hard way na or in a painful way na dapat talagang you'll really have to take sacrifices ika nga. Like for example, mga friends ko, going out somewhere whereas in my case, nandun lang ako sa review center nag-aaral o di kaya nagbabasa ng libro kasi even if pasado na sa NCLEX exam, I meant even if pasado na sa NLE examination, I
Mhm.
was also reviewing from my IELTS and on top of that one, inaasikaso ko na rin yung mga paperworks ko in anticipation sa kakailanganin for my assessment ika nga. And to think ng time na yon transitioning na ang College of Registered Nurses and ang College of Licensed Practical Nurses kasi they were thinking of switching instead of using the WES or the World Education System for their assessment, magiging NNAS na, which just so happened na may legal contract with CGFNS, which is based in the United States.
Okay.
So, yun din ang ina-anticipate ko
Mhm.
na mas mahihirapan ako, which as it turned out, totoo nga. So,
Totoo.
I'll tell more about it in later in later time sa interview na to.
Okay. So, ang nangyari pala, sitwasyon mo, nandun ka palagi sa transition, no?
I was transitioning, yes, and at the same time I was also trying to understand kung ano yung mga processes na dapat kong ma-undergo para maging, of course, maging registered nurse ako dito sa Canada. In my case, na wala akong experience. That was my huge disadvantage.
So that time, sabihin na natin, let's fast track, pasado ka na for the law, RN sa Pilipinas, and then your IELTS, you're preparing for the IELTS. Pinarasis mo na ba yung NNAS mo sa Pilipinas? Or nakapunta ka mo ng Canada na?
That's really a good question, really. Una, kasi ang NNAS nung time kasi na yun, that was October when I first came here. Hindi pa siya yung talagang officially launched. I think if memory serves me well, siguro mga a month after na nakarating ako ng Canada, kung kailan siya officially na-launch yung NNAS.
Okay.
So for that reason, pagdating ko nandito sa Canada noong October na yun, doon pa lang ako nakapagsimulang mag-apply for NNAS.
So dito ka na sa NNAS, dito ka na sa Canada, nag-process ng NNAS. So fast track ulit tayo. Nakapunta ka na dito sa Canada. Ano na yung unang ginawa mo to process your profession as an RN?
Okay, yung una kong ginawa, kasi nga, nung time na yon, it was difficult kasi they're transitioning, di ba? From World Education System, abolished na yon, hindi na part yun. NNAS na. So ako, nung time na yon, I don't know where to get the support. So pumunta ako diretso sa college. I was asking them kung ano na ang panibagong process. So that was my first question. So that was my very first step on the very day na pagkarating ko, kasi I arrived in Canada in the morning, at nung afternoon na yun, dumiretso na ako sa college just to know kung ano ang process. Kasi nung time na yun, medyo may pagka-hot-blooded ako nung time na yun pagdating ko kasi I was just so eager. I did not anticipate kung ano pala, kung gaano kahirap ang magiging process or ang dadaanan mo. So I was just so excited. I was so eagerly excited upon stumbling sa harapan ng College of Registered Nurses of Nova Scotia, of course, asking them kung ano ang kailangan kong gawin. First question, have you ever received an advisory report from the NNAS? Everything is in there. You have to register in there. You have to fill up the forms, meet necessary requirements. Only then will you be able to come here and ask for the next step sa college. So as always, it starts and everything begins with NNAS.
Wow. So from your story, looks like talagang na nakikita at nararamdaman natin yung eagerness mong maging RN dito sa Canada. Considering isipin mo young at the same pagpunta mo lang dito and may lakas na loob kang pumunta sa Board of Nursing. I mean, sino ang may lakas ng loob pumunta sa Board of Nursing to ask question? I mean, that's the right thing to do. Pero ang ano doon is yung lakas ng loob, di ba? And paano
Of course.
malaman na kailangan, kung may tatanungin ako sa Board of Nursing, ako kailangan pumunta? Paano ka nakapag-reach out? You have someone na nag-tip sa'yo? Or ano mo lang, instinct mo lang?
Well, again, I would like to give that credit to my mom, actually. Kasi ang mom ko kasi talaga yung unang nakarating dito. Then she actually knew the process. But the disadvantage, well, I would rather say that the disadvantageous part of that is that yung mom ko, she never encountered NNAS, not even WES. Kasi ang mom ko kasi dumating dito mga 2009. So nung time na yun, ang lahat ng assessment is college ang gumagawa. Hindi wala out of the picture or out of the context. So syempre, my mom gave me that piece of advice. It would be better off for you to go to the College of Registered Nurses or to the College of Licensed Practical Nurses for you to know what the steps would be. I mean, again, there's no harm on asking anyway. You just wanted to know, di ba?
That's right. Sabi nga, kung may tanong, itanong mo. Di ba? Walang
Exactly.
masama magtanong. And then at the same time, this is a very good situation for Canada kasi yung mga agency, organization, or Board of Nursing is madali siyang i-approach.
Yes.
Online or you walk into their office. Just, I'm curious lang kung paano, kasi napaka-unusual for an individual to go to an office and say, ano yung mga requirements niyo? So you go walk in or...
You know what? It's really funny that you mentioned that it's unusual, quote unquote, na pumunta as a walk-in. Because actually, that's what I just did no time na yun.
Kasi ano
Although,
kung ako na lang yung sitwasyon ko, hindi ko yung kaya.
Although the reason why I did such an action, it's because I was getting a lot of tips from my mom's friend, from the friends of friends na nagkaroon ng prior experience. Nung time kasi na yun, yung correspondence ng College of Registered Nurses was really poor. Like for example, if you're sending them an email like right now, then you won't be able to get a response in 2 weeks. I mean, if for someone who just wants to jumpstart with their career or to pretty much start with the processes, you cannot wait 2 weeks for that. So I had to build up, let's just say I had to build up my balls para lang maglakad doon, magpakita, and ask what is the necessary first step for you to do. So yun.
Yun nga. So all to everyone that are watching, yun kailangan ninyo, lakas ng loob. If hindi alam, magtanong. Anyway, that's the nature of being a nurse, right? Kung hindi mo talaga mag-alam, magtanong. And, di ba, sa hospital settings, as a nurse, kung hindi mo talaga alam, don't take the risk, ask, di ba? So yun yung pinaka-ano doon. Kung hindi mo talaga alam, magtanong, which is very good with it. Ngayon, nandito na sa Canada, nasabi na ng Board of Nursing that you need an NNAS. Ano yung NNAS? For everyone, kasi not all are informed about the NNAS. Most of our CAP right now are watching. They want to practice an RN, but they don't know where to start. Maybe they already heard about NNAS, pero ano ba yung NNAS? Para saan ba yung NNAS? What is the purpose of the NNAS? And what will be your tips? Gaano ba siya kahirap based from your perspective?
Okay. All right. So to begin with, what is NNAS? NNAS stands for the National Nursing Assessment Services of dito yan sa Canada. For some of you who may not be familiar with NNAS, let's just use this analogy. Probably most of you or probably some of you are familiar kung ano ang processes ng kung paano maging RN, for example, sa United States. Kung sa United States, ang assessment service nila, they use the CGFNS service or yung tinatawag natin na, I think it's um, I think it stands for credential, well, forgive me, I actually kind of forgot the meaning for CGFNS, but I think you're getting the picture or the term na CGFNS is an organization sa United States na nakabase na mag-assess ng credentials mo. Then once na ang credentials mo sa United States is as assessed by CGFNS is okay, then you're pretty much either good to practice or take the test or whatever it is. Dito naman sa Canada, if sa US they have CGFNS, here in Canada we have NNAS. Pero yun nga lang, what's even funny is that, or quite interesting, is that has actually a legal contract with CGFNS. Why is that? Kasi dati, before 2014, Canada used to have their own distinct examination, which was called the Registered Nurses Examination, or yung CRNE, yung Canadian Registered Nurses Examination. But in 2014 onwards, the Canadian government, in collaboration with the College of Registered Nurses in the whole of provinces, decided to adopt the NCLEX examination, which is an examination that is based in the United States. So it's because of that reason, naghanap ng ways ang Canada kung paano somehow mas streamline ang application. Just because CGFNS is very well experienced with it, nagkaroon ng legal contract ang Canada with CGFNS, and that's how NNAS was born, the National Nurses Assessment Services. Kaya pansinin mo ang address ng NNAS is nag-iisa lang with CGFNS, but those are two separate offices.
I see.
Just because
pero wow. Yeah, thank you for that.
So that's how NNAS was born. Yes.
I see. So ano yung pinaka-purpose of the NNAS? Is it to evaluate the education of the nurses, the experience?
Okay. So just because na ang context kasi ng Canadian, ang context kasi ng pagiging registered nurse dito sa Canada is very different, or probably might slightly differ from the practice or from the context of you being a registered nurse in your own home country. Ang responsibility of NNAS is to assess, as you've mentioned, is to assess the comparability of your education. So they will assess everything kung yung knowledge, experience, and everything that has to do with your professional experience or with your professional career as a registered nurse or whatever it is. Then i-compare nila yan sa Canadian standards. Kasi meron yan silang logic scoring na i-compare whether if it is comparable or not, or somewhat comparable. So you can either have, so they will give you three answers. It's one of those: comparable, somewhat comparable, or not comparable.
Okay. So if you're going to process the NNAS, you will expect three advisory report na possible na resort: comparable,
yes,
somehow comparable, and non-comparable.
Non-comparable.
Okay, somewhat
comparable. Or not comparable. Yes.
Okay. With your perspective, with your NNAS result, ano yung result sa'yo?
In my case kasi, actually I had two results kasi, well, I decided to apply for two nursing bodies. I decided to apply for LPN and I decided to apply for RN.
Okay.
Kasi ang common knowledge ng karamihan dito, or usually ang common knowledge or common stereotypical knowledge is that, why, registered nurse naman ako sa Pilipinas, automatic, pwede ako maging LPN. But actually that still varies. I mean, so when I applied for two regulatory bodies, that's for the College of Registered Nurses of Nova Scotia and the College of Licensed Practical Nurses para maging LPN or RN. So syempre, ang primary application ko was being an RN. So yun ang priority ko. Pero parang secondary na lang yung pagiging LPN. Ang LPN ko, as it turned out, was somewhat comparable, pero as expected, ang RN ko was not comparable. So so the way how they will actually present it to you is you will receive an email na magsasabi na your advisory report for the regulatory body that you have applied, for example, for LPN, is is posted into your email. Like they will say if it's somewhat comparable, then ipapakita kung paano sila naka-land sa ganung conclusion. Like for example, family practice, education, or pharmacology, or lahat ng mga subjects naka-outline doon. Then sa first column, naka-outline doon kung ano ang percentage ng comparability rate to that of the Canadian standards. Like for example, pharmacology, kasi sa education natin sa Philippines, kasi syempre we were educated with the pharmacological medications as RN. So doon, naging almost 100% ako doon sa comparability rate niya with that of the Canadian standards. Pero syempre may mga iba kasi na mag-vary. Kasi syempre iba ang context ng educational background natin sa Pilipinas as compared dito. Kaya, well, thankfully, naging somewhat comparable siya kasi I was given the eligibility to take the CPNRE or the Canadian Practical Nurses Examination. Whereas kasi sa exactly, although sa RN, hindi siya naging comparable kaya doon ako nagkaroon ng maraming processes or additional processes na kailangan kong i-undergo.
Okay. Before we go to the process and this LPN specific and RN specific, gusto kong pag-usapan natin yung NNAS because that's the common questions that we received from our community about the NNAS. Ano yung TPCAT? Because you already explained to us yung NNAS requirements, the purpose of the NNAS, the result that you might get. Ang question ngayon is, ano yung mga documents na kailangan mo for the NNAS?
Okay. So, the following document is your identification, like your passport or your government issued ID, and it has to be notarized. Kasi kung syempre, if it's going to be a photocopy, it has to be certified. It has to be a certified true copy, notarized by a lawyer. In my case, kasi syempre, when I had processed my papers, nandito na ako sa Canada. So, pumunta ako isa sa mga barrister's office dito sa Canada and have it certified. They do recognize it. It doesn't necessarily have to be na magagaling sa Pilipinas. Yun lang ang natatanging document na magagaling sa'yo. Then, that's for the first document na kailangan ng NNAS, your personal identification. Second document na kailangan ng NNAS is ang school documents mo. Remember, maraming mga issues that have risen actually from the school documents because there are two types. It's either the course syllabus or the curriculum. I think it's what they call the curriculum summary, if my memory serves me well. Ang nangyayari kasi is ang curriculum summary, it's just the summary of the subjects. Whereas ang course syllabus is naka-outline ang topic per topic ng lessons ng specific subject na yon. Ang karamihan na number one na pagkakamali ng karamihang mga applicants that I have encountered or that I have spoken to in the past is ang pinapadala nila is that they do not send the course syllabus but rather it's just the curriculum summary. That's a big no-no. Which is why for that
sorry, i-interrupt lang kita. So if you're going to highlight lang natin to. So with regards to the school documents, ang magandang advice is to submit the syllabus.
Course syllabus.
Course syllabus.
All subjects.
Okay,
regardless if it is
highlight that one, please. Okay, continue.
Regardless. So just highlighting the course syllabus, regardless if it is a minor subject, an elective subject, or a major subject, it has to be included.
Okay. So yun mga kapa, paki-highlight po yun kasi it's very important to this tip. Course syllabus, minor or major subject, yun ang isasubmit nyo with the NNAS. So what else aside from identity, school documents, ano pa?
So aside from identities, school documents, so kailangan mo rin ng professional document. Kasi syempre, in order for you na makapag-proceed sa NNAS, you have to prove that you are a registered nurse in your home country. So for that reason, you will have to collaborate with the Philippine Professional Regulation Commission na na kailangan mong ibigay sa kanila. They will have to fill it up and they will have to send it directly to NNAS na magpapatunay na ikaw ay talagang bona fide na professional registered nurse sa Pilipinas.
Okay, question with that. What if, I know you need to make sure that you're a licensed. So, ibig sabihin, Stephen, if you're not a licensed or registered na sa Pilipinas, hindi ka makakapag-process ng NNAS.
I'm very happy that you asked that question. And yes, that is true. You have just said it. Even if sabihin natin na graduate ka ng Bachelor of Science in Nursing sa Philippines, if you are not a registered nurse sa Philippines, which means having to take and pass the Philippine Nurses Licensure Examination, you cannot proceed with NNAS. And for that reason, you cannot be a registered nurse nor a licensed practical nurse in Canada.
Okay.
So if you really want to dream big of being a registered nurse or a licensed practical nurse in Canada, the first step is for you to be a registered nurse in your home country.
Yun. Paki-highlight uli yun mga kap. So yun, you need to be a licensed nurse. You need to be a registered nurse in your home country. So yun. So we're done with the profession, with a PRC or licensed registered nurse. What else?
So I've already covered for the professional yung sa PRC. Next is yung is ang work ang work employment mo or yung work experiences mo. Because if you want to apply for NNAS, you have to prove that you are a nurse na meron kang experience, di ba? So for that reason, you will have to give your employer a form na manggagaling sa NNAS that is meant to be for employers, that your employer will have to fill up kung anong number of hours ka nag-work for their company or kung anong areas of exposure ka nagtrabaho, kung whether it's a medical surgical unit or if it is a specialized unit or whatever it is. They will have to fill it up, notarize it, it's on their end. Then after that, they will have to send it dapat manggagaling sa kanila from the employer. So, kung sasabihin ng employer na, ibibigay ko sa yung document na ito that you've requested for NNAS, you send it. Say no. Tell them that your organization has to send it. So that concept or that principle is true with your school documents if you will request it, and with the Professional Regulation Commission or for your professional regulatory body. They have to send it themselves and not you.
Ayun. So yun mga kap, marami tayong kailangan i-highlight. Number one is yung sa course syllabus pagdating sa school documents. Pagdating doon sa PRC or sa registration, you need to be a license. Hindi lang BSN o hindi lang graduate ng nurse. Dapat you need to have a license. The second one is yung work. So madaling sabihin, kailangan mo ng work experience. Kailangan mo ng work experience with case, ano yung minimum requirements? Like, do we need to have a minimum requirements like 1 year experience para kapag-process ng NNAS or just an experience?
No. In my experience, it's no. It's a no. Kasi ako, when I applied for NNAS, I'll remind you folks, I never had any experiences working in the Philippines as a registered nurse. I came here as a fresh graduate from the Philippines. So for that reason, wala akong experience, zero hours of experience. So what I did in my case is I emailed NNAS stating that I am a fresh graduate from the Philippines, but I was able to prove to them na registered nurse ako sa Pilipinas. Pero yun nga lang, wala akong work experience. So they will actually give you the consideration na bypass na lang nila yung work employer or work experiences mo. Well, in my case, they bypass it because I never had any experiences.
Yeah. Maganda kasi, very unique kasi yung scenario mo is you're a fresh graduate. So parang na-skip mo yung work experience documents. So ang tanong ko, recently ngayon, based from your circle of friends na nakilala, pwede pa ba yung gawin sa NNAS? Like, okay, I'm a fresh grad, okay lang ba hindi ako mag-submit ng work experience?
Yes. Kasi may mga friends din kasi ako na mga from the Philippines na may connections dito sa Canada na ganun din ang case. So you can, as always, send them an email stating that you don't have any experiences.
So yun, na-clarify natin yan. Yung work experience, so you need to have a work experience. And at the same time, i-highlight uli natin mga kap, all the documents na sinisecure mo with your school, with the PRC, with your employer, dapat sila mismo ang magpapadala directly with the NNAS. So what else? Do we miss something like the requirements with the NNAS, or we're good to go? Like
And one last requirement is English examination requirements. So
dito tayo sa sa English na ano sumasabi. So ano yung with the English, ano yung kailangan na requirements with the English? IELTS ba siya, or you need to be general academic?
okay, so dati dahil isa lang ang required or isa lang yung recognized na English examination, that was IELTS before. Diba? Pero ngayon, meron ka ng dalawang choices. It's either IELTS or yung CELBAN or yung Canadian English Language Benchmarking as assessment for nurses. So, CELBAN. Ang IELTS, kasi I know that most of you are already aware that there are two types of IELTS examination. There's the general and there's the academic.
Mm-hmm.
It's the academic that they want. So, and although for some of you, you guys might already be familiar with the requirements for the IELTS, medyo mataas ang requirement for the IELTS. And just to take note, kasi ang IELTS examination has four parts. There's the speaking part, there's the written part, there's the reading part, and there's I'm not sure if I've already mentioned the interview part. I think it's the listening. Yes. So that's four. So, so every aspects of those examination may require minimum score. Like for example, sa listening, I think the minimum requirement is 7.5. For reading, I think it is 6.5. For writing, it is 7. And sa isa naman is 7. Total band score of 7. If like for example ang IELTS score mo is for example higher than 7, let's just say naka 7.5 ka or naka 8 ka or naka 9, which is the maximum score. Even if ang band score mo, ang total band score mo is really high or exceeds the minimum ng overall band score, if one of your English examination aspect or concept is lower than the minimum required, like let's just say for example sa writing part, ang minimum is 7, tapos naka 6.5 ka or lower than that, still you will have to retake everything. And you'll have to pass everything in a single sitting for IELTS.
Okay. So in mga kapang, you need to take note about that. Number one, IELTS academic. And then there's another option. So hindi mo kailangan i-take yung IELTS academic and CELBAN. No, you need to choose between the two. And later on, maybe we will ask Stephen what's the difference between CELBAN and IELTS academic. But I just want to highlight mga Kap, because this is the common question. Kap, pwede ba akong mag-take ng IELTS general training, and this general training IELTS, can I use it for the NNAS? So it's very clear, sabi ni Stephen, you need to have an IELTS academic. Hindi general training. Hindi general training. You need to have an academic. So ang another question na naman, dalawa po pala Kaps na IELTS ang kailangan kong i-take para makapunta ng Canada and makapag-practice ng RN. Unfortunately, yes. For immigration perspective, you need a general training. For nursing perspective, you need an academic IELTS.
Yes.
So you mentioned about CELBAN, Stephen, CELBAN and IELTS, and I know for most of our friends and Kap dito sa when in Halifax, they're not yet familiar with CELBAN. So do you have idea or tips, or sabihin natin kahit tip of the iceberg lang, ano ba yung CELBAN? What's the difference between CELBAN and IELTS?
Okay. So ang CELBAN is, as I've mentioned, is the Canadian English Language Benchmark Assessment for Nurses. So it is actually familiar. It is really similar with that of the IELTS examination, but the only distinct difference is that CELBAN, Assessment for Nurses, ang two last acronym. Ibig sabihin, ang kanyang testing or ang test niya is pang-nursing language. And
Mm-mm.
and unlike sa IELTS na ang English language is they pretty much talk anything under the sun. Like for example, sa interview portion, how did your day went? Like you'll have to answer to that questionnaire, di ba? Whereas sa Selban, ang interview uh, is may magpre-pretend na pasyente mo siya, how will you communicate with them? How will you do your assessment?
Wow.
I've been getting a lot of feedbacks. I've been getting a lot of feedbacks from my friends and from my other co-networks na nagsasabi na a majority actually are finding Selban easier than IELTS when it comes to that language test kasi nursing language is something that we are mostly familiar with. Kasi malay natin sa IELTS, syempre, they will sometimes inject some idiomatic expression na minsan hindi tayo familiar. Like, what the hell do I know about that kind of idiomatic expression? Like, how am I supposed to know that kung non-native English speaker tayo? Whereas sa CELBAN examination, we are very much familiar with the flow of the nursing or with the healthcare terms. We know what the acronyms stand for. We know what Celsius degree is. We know those kind of terms kasi ang Celban is really tailored for nurses. And
Wow.
they will test your knowledge depending on how you understand the nursing language context.
Wow.
Pretty much in a healthcare field.
So in your perspective, Stephen, if you're going to take
Mhm.
another NNAS and take another language test, which
Mhm.
one? IELTS or you go with Salban? Ano yung pipili mo sa dalawa?
Well, I don't really want to give a direct or a concrete or direct na pagsasabi or suggestion na, oy, dapat Selban ang kunin mo, oy, dapat IELTS. Kasi in my context, iba ang kinuha kong examination IELTS. Kasi noong time na yun, it was only IELTS.
Mhm.
But although I would rather say basing from what I have heard from the experiences of the good majority of my friends and other networks, they're pretty much finding a lot of ease when when they're taking Salban. I'm not saying that you guys need to take Salban. Who knows, baka some of you might be well seasoned English speakers na and at the same time you can speak Tagalog or whatever it is, then you may also challenge IELTS.
Mhm.
There are advantages and disadvantages then kasi, di ba? So yes, IELTS can be used internationally, whereas Salban is just for Canada.
Yes. Yan. With regards to IELTS and Salban, I think depende ko sa comfortable eh. And at the same time, kahit alin yan sa dalawa, ang importante
Yeah.
talaga is preparedness, yun ang number one, and practice, I think. Kasi pareho lang siyang English,
Mhm.
pero ang difference lang is topic. I think what I see from Selban is more on nursing specific. So, hindi ka mawala ng kwento. Whereas pag IELTS, anything under the sun.
Exactly.
What if pag tinanong ka politics? So, wala ka man alam ng politics. So, anong sasagot mo, di ba? But with the Selban, it's all
Yeah.
about nursing. Pwede kang gumawa ng kwento eh, di ba? So, kasi nursing yan eh. Alam mo.
Mhm.
So yun, thank you very much for a
Mhm.
very detailed step-by-step requirements ng NNAS, and we greatly appreciate sharing your knowledge with the NNAS. Ayan mga kap, if you have question with the NNAS, medyo hindi pa malinaw, feel free to comment it below in our live streaming and tag your friends. Baka makatulong to sa kanilang pangarap na makapunta dito sa
Mhm.
Canada at maging RN dito sa Canada. So now, Stephen, we're done with the NNAS. Sabihin na natin ito na yung advisory report. Lumabas na yung
Yes.
advisory report and you mentioned na comparable yung inyong documents, yung NNAS mo with the LPN. And then doon sa RN is somewhat comparable. So ano yung pinili mo?
Oh, correction lang dyan, Joe, ha? Ang RN ko is not comparable. Ang LPN ko ang somewhat comparable.
Sorry. So non-comparable
Yes.
RN and somehow comparable yung LPN. Sorry. So ano yung pinili mo? Nag-practice ka ng LPN mo or nag-RN ka na diretso? So yeah.
Okay. So, una, just because I do not want to confuse you, so unahan ko muna ang LPN. Somewhat comparable. So, ang nangyari sa akin is, I was given an opportunity na just because na somewhat comparable siya, the college decided na, you know what, even if somewhat comparable ang naging assessment ng NNAS degree mo for LPN, we see na may competent ka naman. I mean,
Mhm.
basing from your grades, kasi they will also see yung grades mo or whatever it is. They actually mentioned about that thing too. So, sasabihin nila na, you know what? I think we can give you the eligibility to challenge the CPNRE or yung Canadian Practical Nurses Examination.
Mhm.
So for that reason, I decided in a skip of a heartbeat, I decided to apply for the CPNR examination. And thankfully, sa awa ng Diyos, nakapasa naman ako. I passed the CPNR exam and naging LPN ako.
Wow.
So that's for my LPN
So,
pathway.
yung
Straightforward siya.
gusto ko lang malinaw doon sa LPN. So, challenge mo siya. Ano ba yung pag-challenge? Kasi ano yung challenge? Ano ba yung written exam, written demo, or paano mo siya challenge? I mean, this is
So for that,
actually for Filipino, for all Filipino nurses, parang challenge, parang ano yun, written demo. Parang, let's give them an idea. Ano ba yung challenge? Diba?
okay. So yung sa examination na CPNRE examination is nung time na yun is that was 2015. No, actually 2016. I took the LPN examination CPNRE that on January 2016. It just so happened that we are the last batch na written exam. Kasi
Mm,
ngayon it's computerized na.
okay.
Computerized examination na ang CPNRE, just so you know.
Okay.
But it's also, it just so happened that even if computerized examination na ang CPNRE, it differs from NCLEX. Hindi siya computer adaptive,
Hmm.
unlike NCLEX.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And we have some questions na nababasa dito sa atin. Before we go to the process, nasa na ba tayo? Nasa LPN na tayo. Challenge mo yung
Yes,
LPN.
LPN.
Before we go to that, sagutin lang natin si Penelope Dobe. I am an LPN in US. I want to immigrate
Mhm.
to Canada. Should I apply as a nurse aide? Do you have idea on this question or?
Mm, so I'll repeat I'll repeat the ano ha kung this is my understanding. So kunyari for example LPN ka sa United States and
Mhm.
that you want to apply here in Canada as let's just say as an LPN or an RN, then can you start working as a nursing aide? That's a
Mhm.
good question. It actually varies in every province. Like for example, I can only speak in the perspective of Nova Scotia, so please
Mhm.
bear with me.
Mhm.
Dito sa Nova Scotia, there are a lot of nursing homes that actually do hire for Filipino nurses, mga Filipino registered nurses sa Pilipinas na hindi pa RN or LPN dito. Pero kasi dito, ang term kasi namin dito, instead of nursing aid, we call them CCAs or yung certified community assistant or certified nurse assistant or
Yeah.
CNA. Pero dito sa Nova Scotia, karamihan ng mga nursing homes is, or like for example, Shanex Nursing Homes, which is one of the biggest employers here in Canada na
Mhm.
naka-base dito sa Nova Scotia, is that they will hire you in a condition that in 2 years' time, dapat is either na makomply mo ang CNA license, maging LPN ka or maging RN ka. So conditional siya.
Mhm. Okay.
So yes, you can still apply as a nurse aide, but again, that depends on the province that you're applying for, and secondly, that depends on the employer that you're applying for as well. Kasi, like for example, in Ontario, from my understanding, um, I'm I'm not familiar much with Ontario, but this is what I've heard. If you want to be a nursing aide in Ontario, you need to be licensed for that, or yung certification license, ika nga.
Mhm.
Whereas dito sa Nova Scotia, you can still practice it, but yun nga lang, conditional. In 2 years, it's either you upgrade to those licenses I have mentioned earlier.
Okay. Thank you very much for a well detailed explanation. Thank you very much. And we have Jabel Janelle. She is watching on our YouTube channel. Kuya, tanong ko po, pwede ang graduate sa ETAP or ETEEAP. So, sinerch ko siya sa Google, Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalence and Accreditation.
Mhm.
To process, sorry, nasaan ako? ETA na BSN sa ECA po. Kasi po, BSN ay 4 years, pero sa ETA is 1 year lang po. Makapasa po ba sa ECA yun? I think, save mo itong sagot na to on our Saturday live streaming. I think it's more on immigration. But right now, we will
Mhm.
focus on nursing
Mhm.
perspective. But Anel, Jabel, thank you very much for your question. But if you have
Mhm.
questions, feel free to ask question. We have Renan Nepomuceno. Sir, good day po. I would
Mhm.
like to ask po, what are the process that my wife should take in order to be an RN in Canada? My wife is an RN in Philippines with 5 years experience 10 years ago. I
Okay.
think, Renan, the best thing is watch the live stream because Stephen already explained step-by-step process on how to be an RN, start from the Philippines, then papunta dito sa Canada. And okay. Most of your question, Renan, is immigration. I'll just entertain some question in our watch party at Pinoy Canada Immigration Forum. We have Zaritz Tobias Valente. Can I just send a proof of English language as a medium of communication from my workplace or college of school? Pwede, pwede daw mag-send na lang ng uh,
Ng
uh,
proof.
proof. Nag-accept ba yung NNES ng ganyan?
Well, from my understandings, I think sa Ontario, I'm not sure ha, pero this is what I heard from from my other friends. So I think sa Ontario they do it. I think nababypass nila. They can give you the advisory report for as long as you can provide proof from the employers or even from the college. Kasi majority ng mga nasa Ontario is nag-aaral sa mga community college sa nursing,
Mhm.
like mga course certification programs. So from that is kinukuha nila yung kanilang certification from the college and yung statement na proof that they can speak English or whatever. Then sinasend nila sa College of Nurses of Ontario. You cannot directly send it to NNAS kasi still it's a requirement. Pero you know what? At the end of the day, once na lahat na process na yan, na for example, license na lahat na bayaran mo na ang fees, for them to be able to release at the very end of the day, they will still ask a proof either from IELTS or CELBAN. Even here
So
in
yun,
Nova Scotia, they will still
so yun pa din. Magla-language test ka pa din.
rin.
Okay.
Magla-language test ka pa rin. Kasi sa akin dati is hanggat hindi natatanggap ng NNAS or ng College of Nurses ang IELTS examination or ang CELBAN, well, in my case, dati IELTS pa lang, you cannot proceed with the application. Pero ngayon, you have an opportunity to do so for as long as you can provide proof. You just have to give a statement sa college. Yun nga lang is, again, I'll repeat it again, before they will give you your license, English examination muna, then we'll give you your license. So ganyan ang nagiging trend ngayon.
Mhm. So parang wala kang takas pa rin sa language test, ano?
I'm afraid to say wala.
So we have a very good question from Zaritz Tobias Valente. If I did not do NNAS, how long it will
Mhm.
take me to become a Canadian RN?
Okay, so if you want to take that part or yung kung gusto mong ayaw ng dumaan sa NNAS, one thing na pwede mong gawin is you'll have to go back to schooling dito sa Canada from year one as like for example in a university-based school para maging graduate ka ng Bachelor of Science in Nursing, or secondly, mag-aaral ka ng pagiging LPN sa community college. That's the only way for you to bypass NNAS para maging nurse ka dito. Kasi,
Okay. Mhm.
yeah, because basically you'll have to repeat all of your studies. Yun nga lang, dito sa Canada.
Mhm.
That's the only way for you to be able to bypass NNAS.
Mhm. So kung ayaw mo mag-NNAS, ayaw
Mhm.
mo mag-pass ng NNAS, kahit graduate ka na sa Pilipinas, the only solution to be an RN is mag-aral ulit dito, right?
Exactly, you got it. And of course, if you do that path, I mean, you're free to do so. Yun nga lang, obviously, knowing na ang universities or ang pag-aaral dito sa Canada is napakamahal. As a matter of fact, maraming nagkakabaon dahil sa student loans.
Mhm.
I would definitely would not advise you to do that, especially if RN ka sa Pilipinas.
Okay.
So that's the reason why NNAS was created. It's because solely for this solution.
Correct. So mga kap, if you're an RN in the Philippines, wag niyo nang skip yung NNAS. Mahirap, challenging, matagal. Yes, totoo. But then, imagine yung masisave ninyong pera kung mag-aaral kayo dito sa Canada. Imagine ilang taon kayo mag-aaral ng RN dito. 3 years, 4 years ang RN. And it costs you an average, I think sa university is around magkano ba? 20,000? Canadian per
Well,
year, average?
well, per year, yes. Around 20,000 per year, yes.
Yun yung, at least you have a figure. Balikan ko si Renan. Renan is watching from our YouTube channel. I think this is a good question also. Is she
Mhm.
can allowed to register in NAS even 10 years ago pa yung experience niya?
Yes, a big resounding yes. Yun nga lang, meron tayong concept na tinatawag na safe practice. Dito sa Nova Scotia, ibig sabihin ng safe practice is when was the last time na nakapag-practice ka ng pagiging nurse na mako-consider mo pa rin na safe ka pa rin even if prolonged ang time. Dito sa Nova Scotia, it's 3 years. Ang ibig sabihin ng 3 years ng safe practice dito sa Nova Scotia is you are still considered to be a safe nurse even if hindi ka pa nakapag-practice ng nursing at a maximum of 3 years. If 10 years na, ibig sabihin, expired na ang safe practice mo. You can still apply for NNAS. Yun nga lang, there's a probability that you'll have to undergo through the processes. Actually, I don't think I was able to answer the I think I wasn't able to touch regarding about the process for RN because I was supposed to discuss the RN pathway.
Yeah, in-entertain lang natin yung in-entertain lang natin yung mga question. But that's will be
Yeah.
our next question. Mga kap, save all your questions. In-entertain lang natin yung mga questions. So, si Kevin now, we're done with the LPN. Challenge niya and that time is nagkaroon na siya ng license with the LPN. So now that you work as an LPN that time, nung nakuha mo na yung license, you work as an LPN, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
then
Yes.
after, what's next?
Okay, so sige. So LPN out of the picture na yun kasi LPN ako nung time na yun. So this time RN na. Okay.
Anong taon lang yun? Just to track down. Anong taon yun? 2000?
That was 2016.
2016.
2016, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So 2016 January LPN na ako. So this time tapos ng LPN, so focus na ako sa nursing, sa RN. Kumbaga. Okay. So sige, I got my advisory report from NNAS. Okay, Stephen, harsh reality, not comparable. Sampal sa mukha. Diba?
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunately pinaka-common na sa karamihan ng mga Pinoy nurse na nakukuha ng advisory report. Oh, hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
No. Hello, nawala. Sige, continue lang tayo. Naririnig kita. Ay, nawala si Stephen. So, ayun mga kap, I think we're still live. Nawala na si Stephen. But again, mga kap, if you have question, feel free to ask question with regards to the LPN, with an RN. Feel free to ask question with Stephen. Nagkaroon na ng lag, I think, with the our internet connection. But later on, just tune in. Huwag kayong aalis mga kap. Babalik si Stephen. Babalik si Stephen. So, commercial lang muna mga kap. If this is your first time to watch our channel, if this is your first time to watch our video, feel free to join Pinoy Canada Immigration Forum. So, Pinoy Canada Immigration Forum is a forum wherein you can look for a support group. So, if you have questions with Canada Immigration, if you want to ask something, we have a very healthy, growing community. Nasa 9,000 members na yung Pinoy Canada Immigration Forum. And of course, if you're coming here in Halifax, please like East Coast Filipino Portal and join Settle East Coast. Ayan, nandito ulit si Stephen. Ay, yan. Sorry na. Okay na tayo. Ayan, nawala pa ulit. So anyway, so yun, wait lang po, may sa internet connection lang natin. But anyway mga kap, so huwag kayong alis, babalik si Stephen. Anyway, mga kap, if you're coming here in Halifax, dala nyo na yung pamilya nyo. If you're looking for a support group, join Settle East Coast. It's a Facebook group wherein we help yung mga papunta or newcomers dito sa Nova Scotia. So feel free to message me. Say, papunta na ako dito, baka pwedeng pahingi ng tulong. pag-guide ko anong dapat gagawin. So feel free to join our group. And at the same time mga kap, every Saturday, if you want to learn about Canada immigration, every Saturday, we have a live streaming with Miss Mel of AJOC International. So Miss Mel is a licensed immigration consultant. So if you have question about immigration per se, Saturday, 12 noon, Manila time, we have a live streaming. And of course, today live streaming is all about nurses, of how to be a registered nurse. So step by step, i-discuss yan ni Stephen. Ayan, huwag na natin patagalin. Nandito si Stephen. Stephen, welcome back.
Hi,
Ayan,
sorry,
okay.
nawala.
So yan, okay lang. So naging non-comparable, ito na yung reality RN. Ito ba yung usual na resulta or advisory report ng mga international educated nurses na galing sa Pilipinas?
Yes. Unfortunately, yan ang pinaka-common na result, not comparable. So anyway, going back to my story, and I deeply apologize sa network interruption. For some reason, I didn't know what transpired. So anyway, so not comparable. So ang next step mo is, if regardless kung comparable yan, you have to go to the college of or to the regulatory body, College of Registered Nurses, or to the College of Nurses of your province. Then you tell them na, you know what, I am officially registering for the regulatory board, and here is my NNAS result. They will actually retrieve it from their own portal. Meron silang sariling portal, but you will have to register with them. You have to pay necessary initial registration fees. Initial registration, it does not necessarily mean na magiging RN ka na diretso. Because even if meron ka ng NNAS result, they will still make their own assessment. Titingnan nila ang NNAS advisory report mo. Then from your NNAS advisory report, they will draw out their conclusions or decisions kung anong actions ang pwede nilang gawin para makaproceed ka. Scenario number one, not comparable ka. And yet, meron kang experience na within safe practice ka pa. Possibility is you can either, two choices, you can either take the OSCE or yung directly observed simulation examination, which means na may magpre-pretend na may nurse, ikaw ang nurse, tapos may magpre-pretend na may patient, and at the same time, may invigilator who's recording everything. Naka-video recorded, camera recorded, voice recorded, lahat yan. Then bibigyan ka ng situation in every station. Like for example, station number 1, meron kang pasyente na ganito, indigenous ang background, na ooperahan, and yet ayaw niyang tanggalin yung kanyang traditional amulet that is said to ward off evil. What will you do? Anong communication skills ang gagawin mo? Or probably second station number 2 ng simulation examination na yan. You were asked to prepare medication for this one or that one, or you're asked to do dressing changes or whatever it is. Ipapakita mo kung ano yung mga basic nursing skills. So basically, it's basic nursing skill 101 ang gagawin mo doon. So you have to know your fundamentals. Then itatas nila yan simulation examination. Or second possibility is bridging program course. Bridging program course is it can either take you 1 or 2 years. Mag-aaral ka pa rin. Pero magdedepende pa rin yan kung ano yung mga specific subjects na napag-decision ng college na gusto nilang ipatake sa'yo, depending kung ano ang naging result either ng simulation examination mo or ng NNAS mo. For example, as I've mentioned earlier, kung not comparable ka within safe practice ka, bibigyan ka ng 2 options. Either you go for OSCE for simulation examination, or dediretso ka ng bridging program course, which is good kasi may option ka, di ba? Or option number 2, kung not comparable ka pero expired ng safe practice mo, chances are it's either na ipa-OSCE ka lang, then from OSCE i-decide kung ipapa-bridging program ka or diretso na sa RN examination, or baka sasabihin ng college na, you know what, just take the bridging program course. Just comply with the bridging program course and you're good to go. So that's just for the not comparable. Paano pag somewhat comparable? Pag somewhat comparable, maganda ang chances mo kasi even if expired ng safe practice mo pero somewhat comparable, for example, ang chances is something or iilan lang na bridging program program courses ang ipapakuha sa'yo, probably 3 or 4 at max. Then after that, you're all good to go. Probably in 6 months, ma-comply mo na yan, RN ka na. For as long as you comply with it, take the examination, you're good to go. Or ang sabihin natin ang pinaka-ideal is comparable. Obviously, sasabihin ng regulatory, you know what, just take the NCLEX examination and you're good to go. Mapasa mo lang yan, RN ka na. Pero I want to focus on the not comparable side kasi yan ang pinaka-common.
It's a common.
So, kasi yan ang common scenario. Exactly. So, what is this? Ano ba itong sinasabi ko ng mga simulation or OSCE examination? So, ano ba ang simulation examination na ito? Ang simulation examination na ito is i-test kung ano yung communication skills mo. So, bale lahat ng nursing knowledge mo i-test dito, even yung pharmacology knowledge mo i-test din dito kung ano ba ang alam sa drugs na ito, if you're giving this medication, what kind of side reactions are you going to expect, and ano yung mga anticipated actions na dapat mong i-anticipate or gagawin mo if you're giving this medication. Ano ba ang health education ang ibibigay mo sa family, or ano ang past medical health history ang gusto mong tatanungin sa patient na yon. So, ang interview portion doon, like what's gonna happen is that ang invigilator magbibigay siya ng mga series of interview questions, then you will give the answer. That is voice recorded. That's voice recorded yan, ha? Then, sa second part is may written examination. Written examination is just like taking any typical nursing examination. Then, ang third part is merong simulation examination. Ang simulation examination is ang pinaka-common scenario na let's just say na pinaka-anxious ang kanyan sa mga Pinoy communities. Kasi when it comes to simulation examination, ang term natin dyan is OSCE. OSCE. So, ang OSCE, it's an abbreviation that stands for Objective Structured Clinical Examination. So, ang mangyayari niyan, ang OSCE examination or OSCE simulation exam is divided into several stations. Pero, siya sa iisang situation. For example, meron kang patient na, for example, with indigenous background. So, station number 1. So, you were asked to retrieve health history. Ano ba ito ang kanyang past medical health history. So from that situation, papasok ka na. All right, your timer. So okay, sige, pasok ka na. Papasok ka sa door na yan, may makikita kang nurse. Well, actually not nurse, patient na nagpre-pretend na patient, pero in reality mga teachers din yan or nurse din yan. Nag-a-assess din sila sa'yo, just so you know. And on top of that one, meron ding invigilator na nakaupo lang, nakatingin sa'yo, nagsusulat. And at the same time, it's video recorded, may camera, and voice recorded. Everything is recorded. So, titingnan nila kung ano yung gagawin mo, kung ano pa yung mga interventions ang gagawin mo. So, doon malalaman.
Wow.
Exactly. So, for example, once natapos ka na sa station na yan, lalabas ka lang. Okay, pupunta ka sa kabilang pintuan. Station number 2 na yan. Sa station number 2, you were asked to do some sort of procedures, kunyari. Then, sa procedures na yan, ano ba ang gagawin mo? It can either be a wound dressing change, or it can either be a medication preparation, or whatever it is. Lahat nandyan. So, that is just a brief background of that simulation or OSCE part. Kasi pagka sinasabi natin simulation examination, ang iniisip ka agad is OSCE. Actually, it's not just OSCE. Marami yan. May written examination, may interview portion pa yan. So, hindi lang OSCE. OSCE is just part of it. So that's for the simulation.
And mukhang parang talagang mahirap, no? Pero kung titingnan, parang return demo lang sa atin, no? Di ba ganun yung
return demo?
Return demo.
Yes,
pero
return demonstration.
Nakasalaan.
Yes. Pero dito, ang mahirap lang kasi dito sa OSCE examination is ganito. There are 3 possibilities. Although, even if ng educated affiliated organization na nagkakonduct ng OSCE examination. For example, sa Ontario, I think it is Touchstone Educational Institution ang nagkakonduct ng OSCE examination for international educated nurses. Even if they will say na this is not a pass or fail, but in reality, ako magsasabi sa inyo, it actually is a pass and mark. Kasi that's how I felt eh. Kasi for example, 3 possibilities. Kung confident ka sa OSCE mo na naipasa mo siya, kung naipasa mo siya, probability or chances are it's either first possibility, idadiretso ka na lang sa NCLEX examination. Bibigyan ka ng eligibility ng college na, oy, you did perfectly well on the examination mo. Sige, I'll give you the eligibility to take your NCLEX examination. Once mapasa mo, RN ka na. Or, second possibility, medyo okay ang performance mo, pero at the same time, it wasn't bad, it wasn't good either. So parang so-so lang average. So chances are, i-direct ka lang sa bridging program course. It's either they will ask you to take the whole bridging program course or some parts of it. Worst case possible scenario sa OSCE examination is that kung talagang pangit talaga ang naging performance mo, let's just say na, oy, very unsatisfactory ang naging performance mo sa OSCE examination. Worst case scenario, sasabihin ng College of Registered Nurses or College of Nursing, regulatory body ng province mo is, you know what? You performed extremely poorly sa iyong OSCE examination. And for that reason, I don't think you are eligible to proceed further with the regulatory body. For that reason, we will have to ask you to take nursing school sa university. Wow. That's harsh.
So to make it short, if you're given the chance na mag-OSCE ka, do your best.
Do your best.
Or
best. At the same
mahirap imagine mo nag-nursing ka na sa Pilipinas, tapos mag-nursing ka pa dito.
Yes, exactly. So, although, masasabi ko about dyan is, you are the only one who can gauge yourself. Mas kilala mo ang sarili mo. If you really think you are knowledgeable enough to challenge the OSCE examination, by all means, ako pang magsasabi sa'yo, take it. Kasi malay mo, mas makakatipid ka pa sa pera, mas makakatipid ka pa ng panahon. Kasi chances are, if you are confident, and at the same time, you are really knowledgeable sa nursing knowledge in a Canadian context, just so you know, then bibigyan ka na ng eligibility either to take diretso ka na ng NCLEX examination or konting bridging program courses lang. That would take you about 3 months or just 2 months, then okay ka na. Pero if you really think na new graduate ka, or di kaya medyo let's just say na medyo rusty na ang nursing knowledge mo, I don't think marirecommend ko ang OSCE examination na yan. I would prefer na or advise to you na pumunta ka na sa mga bridging program courses diretso kasi mas makakatipid ka.
Mm-hmm. So napakaganda ng example, and actually na-visualize natin how the OSCE works and the result possible nating makuha. It's non-comparable, and then yung versus dun sa somewhat comparable. And napakagandang example. Thank you very much, Stephen, for sharing this information to us. Kaya mga Kap, if you're given the chance na nandito kayo sa Canada, number one na kailangan nyo talaga is i-pray natin na magkaroon ka ng somewhat comparable para at least you have an option kung mag-OSCE ka. Tama ba? May option ka? Pag somewhat?
Kung somewhat comparable ka, there's a possibility na mag-OSCE ka, pero most likely baka konting bridging program courses lang ibigay sa'yo, like 3 courses or a couple of courses. Most likely baka hindi ka na mag-OSCE. Most likely, ha?
Most likely. But then, that's our goal. If you're going to do the NNAS, that's our goal na yung RN mo is somehow comparable. That's why highlight uli natin mga Kap, i-highlight uli natin that you need to submit as core documents is yung course syllabus para maganda yung inyong results.
Yes. Precisely.
So yun yung mga kailangan natin i-highlight mga Kap. Your goal is to have a good advisory report, and your target is to get the somewhat comparable results sa RN para at least maganda din yung chance mo. So to do it, sabi nga ni Stephen, is you need to sa school documents is yung course syllabus. And then sabihin na natin, maswerte, sabihin na natin your scenario is naging after ng advisory report, ano nangyari sa'yo? Non-comparable, then you do a bridging course. How long yung bridging course?
Okay. Although kasi dito sa Canada, bawat province kasi may kanya-kanyang bridging program courses. Whereas dito sa Nova Scotia kasi, it's under the Registered Nurses Professional Development Center. Sa ibang provinces kasi, it's university-based. Kaya don't be surprised kung ang bridging program course sa ibang province is mas mahal. these fees ang bayaran mo. Dito sa RNPDC, it's actually housed in a hospital. Hospital ang nagmamanage, kaya mas mura. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, ang RNPDC bridging program course dito sa Nova Scotia is ang cheapest and the fastest way na matapos mo ang bridging program course mo. Why? Kasi ang bridging program course dito sa Nova Scotia is blended approach, which means online and at the same time may in class. Which means to say online, for the most part, I would say I would say mga 80% online siya. Why? Kasi for example, sa isang course, for example, professional development nursing, or professional nursing in Canada na subject, kunyari, let's just say that is good for 3 months. Sa 3 months na yan, lahat self-paced ang pag-aaral mo na yan. Tapos, ang progress mo is tina-track down online. So sa online na yan, like for example, may deadlines din yan. Like for example, may task 1, 2, task 3 sa subject na yan. So task 1 na ito, ang deadline dapat makuha mo or matapos mo itong examination, ang task na ito is on this date. Pagka hindi mo na open yan at na answer yung task na yan, then mag-expire siya. So you don't want that to happen. So ano yun siya, lahat automated. Then on specific days, before matapos ang subject na yan, siguro mga 3 consecutive days is either na may online session kayo or in-class session.
Oh. So napakaganda. You
So
have
blended siya.
You have no idea. Nico is watching. So Nico, at least you have an idea paano yung process ng bridging course right now. So yun, Nico, thank you for watching. Nico is admin, one of the admin in Pinoy Canada Immigration Forum. And of course, ayan, naging na tayong RN. Nag-bridging course ka ba, Stephen? And how long yun?
Yes po. Ang bridging program course ko is, unfortunately, it took me a year. 1 year ang bridging program course ko kasi the regulatory body wanted me to take the full course. Remember, wala akong nursing experience sa Pilipinas. Kaya from that very discussion itself, they wanted me to take the full course. That's 1 year. 1 year. Okay. And I finished it in 1 year.
Okay. So, fast track tayo, natapos mo yung bridging course. What's next? Like, we have a question here. We have a question here from Marilyn Cabral. Hi.
Or Antonio.
What if NCLEX passer na si nurse?
Well, good news for you. NCLEX is both recognized in Canada and the United States. For as long as fulfill mo ang requirements ng NNAS, like for example, ang bridging program course, sasabihin ng college, you know what, just because you already passed the NCLEX examination, pay your registration fees, and congratulations, here's your license. Wow. So for example,
I-highlight ko lang yun, Stephen. Natapos mo yung bridging course, and the scenario now is you are an NCLEX passer. NCLEX passer ka. Ngayon, natapos mo na, anong sunod na? Bibigay lang sa iyo yung certification, then you are an RN?
Not yet. Actually, you forgot one portion in there. So once matapos mo na ang bridging program course mo, you will have to wait for the email from the College of Nurses na sasabihin na we have recently received correspondence from your bridging program school, for example, RNPDC or Registered Nurses Professional Development Center. Okay. Na sasabihin nila that you have successfully completed the bridging program course. You are now able to ask your fees for your registration, and after that, we will issue you your license.
Wow.
So ganun ka straightforward.
Hindi ka mag-take ng NCLEX to make it
No need, no more. Wow. No more.
So kahit saan na yan, kahit saan yan na state ng United States, kahit anong state?
Exactly. Wow. Regardless if Northern Mariana Island yan, regardless if Texas yan, or Florida, or whatever. Basta NCLEX. That's recognized in Canada.
So what if, ito na scenario lang, what if just in case, expire yung NCLEX? Okay lang ba yun? Or i-renew mo na lang?
You mean expired ang NCLEX? You mean yung US license? Kasi,
US license.
Yes. It doesn't really matter kung expired na ang US license mo kasi ang hinahabol ng regulatory body ng Canada or ng province mo is ang NCLEX result mo kung pasado ka or hindi. Okay. So for example, remember when I mentioned earlier na professional sa requirements ng documents na hinihingi ng NNAS, I was able to mention school and professional documents. Sa professional documents, it's not just the PRC, but you will also have to communicate with your board of nurses sa states if registered nurse ka sa US, regardless if it is expired or not, that is okay.
Okay.
Just tell them that you are applying for Canada, and you will have to give them documents na magagaling sa NNAS anyway, and they'll know what to do.
I see. So, if you are a NCLEX passer and are a Philippine RN, you need to
Mhm.
submit, include this document, your NNAS. Tama ba?
Yes.
Ayan.
Yeah.
So, So yun, napakaganda ng mga examples. Thank you, Stephen, for a very detailed na examples talaga, step by step process. Thank you very much for that. And mga kap, if you find it very helpful, please share this video. And if you have question, comment it below. Looks like, Stephen, napakaganda ng explanation mo. Kaya wala silang tanong. Walang tanong, kaya walang napakaganda ng explanation, kaya walang tanong. But anyway, mga kap, if you like this video, share this video, do a watch party, and tag your friends. Stephen, nandun na tayo sa RN na. RN na ngayon si Stephen. After nung, sabihin natin yung process, kumusta yung pagiging RN
Mhm.
dito sa Canada? And
Okay.
ano yung pinaka, sabihin na nating difference ng nurse dito sa Canada?
Okay, so dito sa Canada, it's I would say na iba ang mode of nursing, ang nursing approach dito, in such a manner na ibang klaseng mode of care. Kasi sa Pilipinas may tinatawag, kasi di ba meron tayong tinatawag na team nursing, then meron din tayong tinatawag na primary nursing. Sa Pilipinas, yung sinasabi nating team nursing, merong medicating nurse, merong ward nurse na mag-iikot, or merong charge nurse, di ba? Kasi like for example, sasabihin natin na pagka medicating nurse ka, ikaw ang bahala sa medication ng buong pasyente, or kung charge nurse ka, ikaw yung magmamanage, magmamando sa mga staff nurses mo. So parang ganun ang approach pagka sa isang typical ward sa Pilipinas. Whereas dito sa Canada, you do everything. Like, yun nga lang kasi, you do everything, you do the medication, you do the care, you do everything. Yun nga lang, limited ang number ng patients na hinahawak mo.
Okay.
Max, at an average, 5 ang hinahawak mo. Unlike sa Pilipinas na it will be surprising sa iba, or pretty much it's not gonna be surprising kasi most likely alam nyo naman na maraming pasyente ang hinahawak nyo. Like for example, minsan 30, magbibigay ka ng, sasabihin natin na, oy, 30 ang patients na hinahawak ko. It's because na medications ang binibigay mo sa lahat ng pasyente na yun or sa buong ward na yun. Dito sa Canada, it's different. You give the medication, you give the care, yung personal care, lahat. Yun nga lang, limited number. Minsan 5, minsan 7 kung short staff.
Yeah. So yun mga
So
kap,
iba ang treatment. Yeah.
if you're nurse in the Philippines, comment it below mga kap kung ilan yung hawak yung pasyente, just to give idea sa lahat ng mga nurses. Ilan yung hawak mong pasyente sa Pilipinas? So dito is 5 to 7, depends kung short. But typically, the average is, for the nurse, is 5 patient. So talaga pag sinabi mong primary, from everything, from preparing, caring, medication, as in lahat talaga.
Ikaw lahat.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So walang takas pala.
and on top of that one, kasi that's just the way how yung modality of nursing approach dito, yung nursing model na ginagamit dito sa karamihan ng hospital dito sa Canada. Then, ang masasabi ko din is, ang pinakamalaking difference din dito is, dito mas ma-enhance mo or mas ma-appreciate mo yung scope of practice mo as being a registered nurse. Kasi pag sa Pilipinas kasi, pagka sinasabi ng doktor, bawal talaga. Pero dito kasi you have a day of flexibility in such a manner na pwede kang tumutol. Wow. That's why sa NCLEX examination, minsan may, di ba, it's not, hindi minsan, let me rephrase it. Sa NCLEX examination, if may remember nyo na will you carry out a specific order ng doktor kung ganyan ang simptomas ng pasyente, like for example, may metoprolol, like for example, blood pressure medication, and yet bagsak na nga ang blood pressure na medication, pero yet in order ng doktor. So anong gagawin mo? Of course, you're not going to give it, even if in order pa yan ng doktor. Kasi syempre sasabihin mo na, yun, mababa ang blood pressure, tapos magbibigay ka pa. So it will further cause further aggravation. So pwede kang tumutol. magsasabi ka.
Wow.
And at the same time, may mga scope of practices dito, like for example, ang PICC line maintenance or yung peripherally inserted central catheter, we maintain it. Sa Pilipinas, usually mga doktor o mga residente ang nagmamanage ng mga PICC or mga sensitive devices like PICC line or portacath. Dito sa Canada, we manage it.
So yun naman
So, yes. Although the reason kung bakit dito sa Canada mas malaki ang scope of practices ng mga registered nurse is because it's for their financing as well. Parang usaping financial din yan kasi syempre it's universal healthcare system. So the government will try to make actions in such a manner na makakatipid. Kasi kung gagayahin nila na in such a manner na doktor ang gagawa ng PICC line maintenance, mas magasto, and to think na in shortage na nga sila sa doktor. So mahirap. Which is why they are expanding the role of registered nurses.
Tama. Okay.
Even that of LPNs actually.
With an RN. So, yun, at least you have an idea ano yung RN settings, ano yung trabaho. Kasi at the same time, sabi nga, talagang mafe-feel mo na nurse ka and you have a voice. Because typically,
yeah. You know what? Yes.
At Pilipinas kasi, hindi naman po sana sa mga doktor, but this is the scenario. Pag yung ano yung order ng doktor, yun na yun. Tatanong ka pa, tinatanong, kini-question mo ako? Di ba, sa Pilipinas?
Yes. Pero dito sa Canada, you cannot do that. Kasi kung may doktor na mabubuli sa'yo, pwede mo silang kasuhan. May laban ka. Yan ang na-appreciate ko dito.
Yun. So, yun. So, we are an RN. We're practicing an RN. So, ngayon you are practicing an RN. Ano yung, plans mo, and at the same time, do you have plans or what you're doing right now? Are you practicing RN? Anong area?
So sa ngayon, practice RN ako pero ngayon nagpo-focus ako ngayon sa emergency department. Actually, kaka-transfer ko lang ng emergency department 7 months ago. So I was working in the medical surgical unit dati. Worked there ever since nung una ko nakuha ang lisensya ko as RN. Doon ako nagtrabaho sa medical surgical unit. Siyempre kasi I wanted to expand my role, yung scope ko. So, nag-emergency department ako.
Wow.
So, yun.
So, yun. I think we have another question from Marilyn Cabral.
Yes.
A nurse.
Of course.
Is it worth it na naging expenses mo and time? Magkano per hour? Maybe just an average per hour dito sa Canada.
Napakasarap na tanong. kasi nasabi ko na sweetest. I would rather say in such way bittersweet kasi bitter in such a manner that it was really hard for me to somehow complete all of the requirements. You'll have to support yourself. Pero nung naging RN na ako, when it comes to salary, I'm telling you, bawi. Although, when it comes to salary, it depends on every province. It depends on provinces, even dito sa Canada. For example, sa Canada, ang probinsya na highest paying is ang Alberta. Alberta pays you if talagang seasoned, experienced nurse ka, you can either be paid $43 per hour. Yun nga lang, although you also have to consider yung gastusin sa Alberta, knowing that Alberta is one of the most expensive cities in Canada. So parang nagka-cancel out lang din. Pero it still varies though. It really depends on how you spend or yung lifestyle spending mo. In my province, dito sa Nova Scotia, by the way, since na-mention ko na Alberta is highest paid, ang pinaka-lowest paid is ang Quebec. Although just so you know, even if Quebec is part of Canada, hindi sila part sa NNAS kasi meron silang distinct na nursing regulation. Hindi sila NCLEX, just so you know, because Quebec is French, kumbaga. And whereas all the rest of Canada is English. So kaya ganun. So anyway, go back to my story. So dito sa Nova Scotia, when I first started, ang sweldo is 35 per hour. Pero that also depends kung sa organization it's pinagtatrabahuhan mo. It's a hospital or nursing home. Ako, I started off working in a nursing home. Pero in my experience and testimonies, mas malaking magpasweldo ang hospital. It's because, as I've mentioned, ang hospitals dito sa Canada, because it's universal healthcare, government ang nagpapasweldo sa'yo. So if you say na registered nurse ka sa isang hospital, because hospitals here in Canada are managed by the government, technically speaking, you are a government employee. Kaya malaki ang sweldo. Mga nasa 35. The starting rate is at 32. Ceiling rate, depende kung sa number of experiences mo, nasa $41. Then, so for example, $41 ang sweldo mo per hour, and ang regular shift sa isang araw is 12 hours. You get a minimum, and ang sweldohan kasi dito sa Canada, sa hospital na pinagtatrabahuhan ko is on a bi-weekly basis. Ibig sabihin, every 2 weeks kasi sweldohan. Siguro masasabi ko ang average net pay ko, I wouldn't say gross pay, kasi pagka sinasabi mong gross pay is hindi pa nakakaltas ang tax doon. Remember, bawat provinces may taxes din, and it just so happens that Nova Scotia has one of the highest taxes, just so you know. So, siguro ang masasabi ko at an average start, siguro mga nasa 1,800 Canadian dollars bi-weekly. Strictly 80 hours yan. Ibang usapan naman, magiging ibang usapan kung sasabihin natin may overtime ka, or di kaya overtime na nakabakasyon ka, or di kaya na nakabakasyon ka, or di kaya na nagkaroon ng holiday pay, or kasi nagtrabaho ko sa holiday season. Ibang usapan yan. Pagka double pay, I meant if pagka naka-overtime ka, double pay yan. So for example, ang sweldo mo is 35, ang regular rate mo, kunyari 35. Pag tinawag ka for overtime, sa mga hospitals, majority, double pay. So ibig sabihin, 70 per hour ka. Pag nakabakasyon ka, for example, officially on vacation ka, oh, by the way, just so you know, vacation is paid as well. So, for example, naka-vacation ka, tapos it just so happen na extremely short-staffed ang hospital, then sasabihin nila na, oy, wala na talaga kaming choice. Will you be able to come in for work? I know you're on vacation, pero talaga kailangan namin ng tao. Ang magiging pay mo dyan is 2.3. Ibig sabihin, 2.3. So, kung ano ang regular rate mo, i-multiply mo by 2.3. Yan ang hourly rate mo.
Wow.
Yes.
So talagang masasabi mong bawing-bawi talaga yung ni-spent mo time and you spent money, bawing-bawi mo if you become a nurse. So
exactly.
Now that you are a nurse, are you thinking to upgrade, or you will just do a continuing education, or what's your plan for now that you are an RN?
So ngayon well, sa case ko, I just want to build up yung experience muna for emergency department. Kasi, well, in my case kasi, ang gusto ko kasi maging trajectory is maging clinical nurse educator.
Okay. Halata
just so you know,
you have the skills na maging educator, because the way you explain it, talagang wala nang itatanong because well explained talaga, and I can feel it na talagang nasa yung forte.
So yun, clinical nurse educator ang gusto kong maging long-term care plan ko. Then so hopefully I'll be able to do that.
Yes. And we have another question from Jules, and I think we will end in a few minutes. We will end our live streaming. Then we will answer this question. NCLEX passer po ba need ng OSCE or bridging program?
Yes, so even if NCLEX passer ka na, knowing that you are technically still considered a foreign or an international educated nurse kasi galing ka ng US kunyari, or US educated, or sabihin na US license ka, you still have to comply with the NNAS. As a matter of fact, nung nag-bridging program course ako, 3 sa mga kaklase ko doon, galing ng Florida, they still have to take a bridging program course, even if they already are NCLEX passers. So it's still not an excuse though. Although, ang maganda lang kasi pagka NCLEX passer ka na is once na na-comply mo na ang requirements mo, hindi mo na kailangan mag-NCLEX kasi recognized na.
Ayun. So, yung mga kap, if you have more questions, feel free to ask question. We might stay for a few minutes. But again, mga kap, thank you very much for supporting When in Halifax. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe to our channel. But before we end, I think you mentioned about your book na pagkwentuhan natin that you are, so it's almost done or it's still on process or nasa publishing na? Kasi you mentioned about the publishing a book. It's a good,
Yeah.
ano, ano yung, ano,
Yes.
ano yung mga kailangan naming expect with the book? Kailan ba siya mapapublish? Meron bang ano, tawag yun, e-book?
Well, I'm really glad na open up mo yung portion na yan. Well, about sa book na that I'm currently or planning to publish, for now it's still on the editing process. Pero kasi unfortunately kasi I'm working with a publisher. Although just because I still cannot disclose any further information kasi hindi pa siya released. So hopefully I'm really looking forward now probably by early next year or by the end of this year ma-release ko siya. That's purely discretionary din yan sa publisher. So anyway, once it's out, I'll let you know. You'll find it out anyway.
At
So
least,
regarding
yeah, as early as now, naintindihan namin na hindi pwedeng i-disclose yung book. But as of now, mga
yeah,
kap, I want you to support Stephen. This is one way to say thank you by supporting Stephen sa pagdating ng pag-release ng kanyang libro. And I think sa title pa lang, mukhang marami tayong information na malalaman. And I think when in Halifax, our community na-build yon because of the belief of sharing is caring. So if you care to Stephen, please
it's caring.
support,
That's right.
support Stephen. Stephen, saan ka pwedeng ma-follow? Do you have an Instagram or Facebook na pwedeng i-follow just in case? Are
I
you in social media?
Yes, yes, meron din akong Facebook, meron din akong Instagram. Although I don't post much on Facebook nor on Instagram, pero active ako. So you
Mm.
can find me through Facebook. It's Stephen Condenuevo. I think you can actually see it in the link. You just search it up and just feel free to shoot me a message.
Okay. And I think na-mention mo din that you have a Facebook group about international educated nursing. Gusto mo ba itong i-promote din for everyone?
Yes, of course. So speaking of that one too. So if you think na yung information, well, actually, remember when I said earlier about some of my friends and some of my network connections. Actually, sa group na yun nanggaling. That group is called Pinoy IENs
Mhm.
of Canada. So I'm actually one of the admins in that group. So for example, if you want to join that group, just feel free to join and I will approve your membership. So para you will be able to get a diverse answers regarding about sa mga complexities ng nursing processes para maging RN dito sa Canada. Because again, everybody's experiences it is unique. Like for example, in my case, unique. Your case might be unique, and probably sa group na yun, you might be able to find someone who is in a similar situation as yours. So again, it all depends on networking.
And that's right. Sabi nga ni Al ng East Coast Filipino Portal is finding the right connection and joining a group like Pinoy Canada Immigration Forum, like the Pinoy International Educated Nursing, is one way to find the right connection. And thank you, Stephen, for giving your valuable time for us, for sharing your
You're
skills,
welcome po.
and of course your experience to be an RN. Maraming salamat po behalf of When in Halifax. Taon puso kami nagpapasalamat sa inyo. And of course to all our CAP na nanonood at manonood pa lang, maraming salamat. Paki-follow po si Stephen and support his book. If you're a registered nurse, feel free to join Pinoy IEN or International Educated Nurses. Ayan mga CAP, before we end our live stream, a quick tip uh, tip for everyone that are watching right now?
Okay, so siguro ang masasabi kong tip is find the motivation, find the inspiration. Find reason to live. So finding that right motivation, it will really fuel you to keep on pursuing.
Yes, ayan. Thank you very much. Ayan mga Caps, again, it's Cap Joey of When in Halifax. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Cap. Bye-bye.
Thank you.